Hi, Anthony. This is Clark Beckham. It's very nice to meet you. And one of my favorite songs is the one you requested, which goes like this. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all and I stood tall and did it my way. Do life your way. I used to spend my nights out in the barroom. Liquor was the only love I've known. But then you rescued me from reaching for the bottom, brought me back from being too far gone. You're as smooth
So tell us a little bit, just a little bit, no spoilers too many here about the book, about the story.
Okay. Well, it's so hard to avoid getting into it, but here's how it goes. The story's about 9 guys, high school boys, that are basically get put in a bad situation by abusive coaches. And I know you've got a kid that plays hockey, so if you've either had at some point in your life a bad coach or you've seen them in action on other teams, and us as parents, it's so hurtful and it makes you so angry. So you get to see what happens, and that's kind of what sparks this whole story. It was written really as a fictional sports novel to get your interest into it, and that's what happens in the story. That's what sparks it. These poor boys have no chance of going to college. They had these great college dreams of playing sports and earning a scholarship. Without that scholarship, they have no chance of going to college. So in rolls into the story two gentlemen that kind of transform and changed these young men's lives. Not in a good way for them, but not in a good way for the rest of the world. And what happens is they find a loophole in the system. And we all know what that loophole is. It's that blind political correctness that enables you to, in 1 second, be able to say, I choose to identify as a female, and now I'm allowed to play in women's sports. I'm allowed to play against girls the next day without taking any hormones, without doing any kind of surgeries, without seeing anyone. You just selectively do it. And that's what sparks the story. These 9 boys have an event that pulls them together from 4 different high schools here in Cincinnati. I won't mess that up. You got to read it to get it. But and they move on and they have great success, and they use, as bad as it is, they end up using that political correctness and that identifying as female as like a force field for them. They're untouchable because everybody knows that the PC sledgehammer will come down on you hard if you buck up against them. So they take advantage of that. Story goes on, and you're really going to have to read it. But the end of the story is that point to where realization hits, and that gut check. And it'll be that gut check for every reader that reads the book about, what have I done? Basically, in the process of doing this to help 9 boys, I've burned Title IX to the ground. I've destroyed women's sports. It's that's over. So that's kind of, I guess, the little spoiler alert part. That's kind of short version.
Reality.
Yeah.
Reality. We have almost half the states now letting children do this, identify as